Hey guys, happy Monday. Welcome to another edition of the Current Era podcast. Today I do have my brother Javar back on to help me talk about the upcoming NBA Finals. We get into everything related to the finals as far as who we think is going to win, Warriors or Raptors. We talk a little bit about the series that came before them, talk about how Steph Curry has just been on another level. Same thing with Kawhi. We also discuss the Lakers, and we talk about Frank Vogel being hired and Magic going off on his little whatever that was he did on first take. And yeah, man, we had a really fun time. Talk about Zion going to the freaking Pelicans. Not yet, but I mean, they're not going to trade the pick, and he's definitely going there. Sorry, Zion, you're going to New Orleans, buddy. And yeah, this is a really fun episode to record, guys. Really fun episode. And also be on the lookout for more episodes coming up real soon. I do release content every Monday and Friday. So yeah, guys, set your notifications and follow me on YouTube at the Current Era Podcast. Follow me on Instagram at the Current Era Podcast and Facebook at the Current Era Podcast. Everything's at the Current Era Podcast in case you didn't catch on. So yeah, let's go ahead and get to the episode, guys. NBA Finals preview with my brother Javar and myself. All right, guys. Welcome to another edition of the Current Era Pod. I'm here with my brother Javar to help talk about everything that we've seen up to this point. Brother, how you doing, man? It's been a while since we last spoke. Now the finals, NBA Finals, are among us. What's going on over there?
What's up, man? Doing well. It's been a good round. I mean, even though the Warriors swept, but the Eastern Conference Finals is good and been some good storylines. So
Most definitely. So it seems like this is like I don't want to say a recurring theme, but it seems like every time we do an NBA pod, something happens with the Lakers, and we just have to talk about it. So, I mean, this time there's multiple things, but I guess if we're going in any kind of chronological order, it would be that we finally hired a coach. We hired Frank Vogel from Indiana and Orlando when he used to coach Paul George, and Orlando made the playoffs, so they weren't god awful. But what are your thoughts on Frank Vogel as a coach? And do you like the coaching decision that we made?
well, just a quick correction. Wh- when Vogel was coaching the Magic, the 2 years before this year, they did not make the playoffs.
Ah,
This year they made it under Steve Clifford, but
gotcha.
yeah. Um, and he's got a good reputation as a good defensive coach. And his problem is that his offense is kind of middling, average, below average. So I mean, all in all, considering the candidates, I mean, to be honest, I don't think there's any much of a difference between him and like Ty Lue. I mean,
Right.
so I mean, I wasn't that excited for Ty Lue, so I'm kind of just somewhat indifferent to Vogel. I mean, I like what he's been saying. So when you go with his reputation as a defensive coach, I like what he's been saying about his offensive approach. He said he's going to be more like analytical minded and emphasizing outside shooting, de-emphasizing mid-range shots. So Brandon Ingram can stop doing all that. Um, and he seemed excited about the young core and of course coaching LeBron. And LeBron seems to respect him. So I mean, I guess I'm cool with it. I mean, he's not really. He's like the least of our worries, to be honest.
Yeah, he is.
So
Yeah, man, that's a good segue to lead into the next thing, and it's Magic again. He decides to go on first take and have this tell-all interview about how dysfunctional we are as a franchise and how Rob Pelinka just straight up backstabbed him and betrayed him. And you can't trust Rob, and how Jeannie is too emotional. She doesn't know what she's doing. And there's too many people in her ear. She's letting too many people have access to her. I mean, my goodness, what do you make of this crap that Magic just dropped on our door?
well, again, I think this is to me all the more reason why we're better off without him. I mean, he just like just drama, and he's just all about like that whole thing. Getting on first take was like so unclassy. And that's the day that the Lakers are announcing. I mean, are announcing their new coach and
Yep.
doing his media. Um, I know they said that they already had that booked for a while, and Magic is busy, so they couldn't that's the only time they had on the schedule, so they couldn't reschedule. That's like their excuse for coming out with that on first take.
Sure.
But yeah, I don't. It's still tacky, and it's like he's trying to save himself from people going at his neck. It's like he was trying to
Absolutely.
go up there to just defend himself and try to save his image, and it didn't do a good job at that. The only thing I kind of understand where he was coming from is that, it's supposed to be he's supposed to have all the power. Why is dudes coming from the business office and whatnot trying to, say this
Usurp
say
him.
when he's yeah, exactly, when he was trying to fire Luke, and he knows that Rob Pelinka, well, he thinks Rob Pelinka is trying to backstab him. But even with that, that's like, okay, if you're not around, everybody knows you're not around. Like, of course they're gonna be salty if you just show up once a month and you're trying to tell everybody what to do. So I don't know why he's surprised at that. But it's just everybody's better off just going their separate ways. Let him just be the official temper, without without getting any fines for it, and just let bygones be bygones. Magic just hopefully he could just distance himself from the Lakers so he could stop making himself look bad. He's a Laker legend, and it's tough to see him. It's tough to see what's going on right now.
Yeah, man, and I think me and you spoke about this, but pretty much in our lifetime, Magic hasn't been that great for the Lakers as a whole, and it's kind of disheartening because when you look at Magic, you think that he's just this Laker legend, and I mean he's an NBA basketball legend, but I mean he's his most notoriety is for the Lakers, and it pains me to see him going out like this because like he's going down and I guess he's trying to go down swinging, but it's like you said, like he's trying to save face and try to make it look like it's not all his fault. But there was absolutely no reason he should have gave that interview. Like there was no reason. It didn't do anything to help him, in my opinion, and it didn't do anything to help the Lakers. So I don't know why he did it. But
I agree
yeah,
100%. But I mean, with all that said, how much do you think that really matters? I mean, we moved on. We got our front office in place. Apparently, everybody's in lockstep and they're working hard. We got a coach. We got a star. We got cap space. And we could just sign somebody and just keep it moving. Like,
yeah,
kind of just be bygones, be bygones. We're still like a step or two away from being contenders. It's not. It could be a lot worse.
yeah. I
We got
mean,
now we got this lottery pick. I mean, things looking up.
I hope that it's that easy, but my worry is that free agents are going to look at what Magic has said and they're going to take that to heart. Hopefully, they're not that foolish and they're actually going to meet with the actual Lakers. But some guys are very easily moved. So hopefully, what Magic said won't ruin free agency for us.
But you know what? There's a lot of teams that have like jokes with front offices or ownership. But just because it's the Lakers, it's out front and center.
True. That's very true. Very true. So the next thing I have on the list, man, is the NBA draft lottery. So the draft lottery happened. The Lakers were slated to get like the 11th or 12th or 10th pick or something like that, and we jumped all the way up to number 4. I'm totally fine with that. I mean, it would have been great to get number 1. Don't get me wrong. And shout out to New Orleans for getting number 1. I know the rest of the NBA is mad, but what are your thoughts on the Lakers? Well, I have 2 questions. What are your thoughts on first the Lakers getting the number 4 pick, and then the Pelicans securing the number 1 pick?
Yeah. So just like you said, it's definitely a luxury. I mean, it was very exciting when we saw that. We were supposed to be at 11, and next someone else came up. It's like, oh, okay, the Lakers moved down. So it's like, oh, what's up?
Yep.
It's unfortunate though that this is pretty much the consensus is like a 3-player draft, really
Yeah.
a 2-player draft, and then R.J. Barrett's a superstar potential too, but and we got the 4th pick. But beggars can't be choosers, and at
Definitely.
the end of the day, I don't think we're gonna keep the pick. I think we're probably gonna trade it for something.
Absolutely.
And then you asked me about New Orleans getting number 1 pick. That's like the biggest deal because now these fools sound like they want to keep Anthony Davis,
Yep.
and they're going to try to ride it out at least to the trade deadline. And so there's a lot of ramifications for that. So teams like us, the Knicks, the Celtics, who've been trying to get him, now might have to pivot. Or maybe it's a flex. Maybe it's just David Griffin and New Orleans just saying they can't come out and say they're trying to trade him,
Right.
so they can get the best offer possible. We'll see. But you figure if something's going to happen, it's going to happen before the draft so they can get their pick and pick what they want.
Yeah, I mean, I like to think that I mean, when you talk about the Lakers, I like to think that we're going to keep the pick and we're going to draft some good young guy and it's going to be great because for the past few years, even though we've been bad, I think that we've drafted really well. But I mean, realistically, I don't see a world in where we keep it. Like I don't see why we actually need it, to be honest. Like
Yeah, like I
the
say, where
young
would they even
player.
play? Yeah,
Yeah, I
that's just a
mean,
center.
exactly. So it'd be better just to move it. Hopefully it's not for the rumblings I'm hearing is Bradley Beal. People are trying to give up Zoe and Kuz and the pick, or Ingram and Kuz for the pick. Hopefully we don't have to give up two young core and the pick for Bradley Beal. I don't think he's that good. I don't think he's worth that. But what's your opinion on that Bradley Beal trade situation for the pick?
Yeah, I mean, it will hurt. I think I'd be okay with like Bill or maybe like a Kuz or Kuz and Hart, but I
Right.
still don't. I still like would really try to hold on to Ingram and Zoe as much as possible.
Yeah.
I mean, and I love Kuz, but you know,
It is what it is.
out of the rest of the young core, I think the other ones have higher ceilings. And
Definitely.
Kuz, I still think can be an all-star. Actually, I wouldn't be surprised if he ends up being an all-star, but I like Ingram and Lonzo's potential a lot more. So it will hurt to trade them and a lottery pick,
Yeah, most
and
definitely.
especially if you have to do like multiple with them and lottery pick. It's like, oh, it's just too much for Bradley
Yeah.
Beal. No.
And so one of the things that Rob and Frank Vogel touched on in their press conference was, well, I guess I should say one of the questions that they got asked repeatedly was, who's calling the shots? Like, how is this structure working? I mean, it sounds like, Genie's still the guy. And then they answered to Genie, like Rob works directly under Genie. And then he mentioned something about how Kurt Rambis and his wife are special advisors. Um, what do you make of that whole structure? Because it sounds like Magic Johnson's president of basketball operations role isn't even a role anymore. I think Rob said that they created that specifically for him, and they're just not going to have it anymore. They're just going to have a GM. What do you think about that kind of structure? And does it work in your mind?
First of all, that's a lie because Jim Buss was vice president of basketball operations, so basically it's essentially the same thing, same role that Magic Johnson had.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, whatever. As long as they make the right decision to get it together, I mean, it doesn't really matter if they're doing a team council approach, or if it's Rob as the GM and he
Yeah.
tells Jeannie. I mean, whatever. They just need to get it together. At the end of the day, this is on Jeannie now. Like, if she can't use nobody else as a meat shield or blame nobody else if they don't turn this thing around. So the pressure's on her. So it don't
Yep.
matter really how she has her small council.
Yep. Yeah, I agree, 100%. So let's go ahead and get to these NBA finals, man. So I want to talk a little bit because I guess the last time we spoke, we spoke about the semifinals, and the Warriors were going into Game 6 with Houston, and both of us have that the Warriors are going to win Game 6. So both of us are right because they came out, they punched them in the face, and they were pretty much leading the whole way. Um, and I wasn't really surprised, to be honest. Like, you know, it seems like the common consensus is like Steph Curry's back, and I was just like, to me, he never really went anywhere. Like he was just kind of deferring to KD. Um, but I always knew that Steph still had it in him to be this great. Like Steph has had an amazing 5-game playoff run, 6-game playoff run, however you want to call it, since KD has been out. Um, but what are your thoughts on that particular series, and where did the Rockets go from here? Because they they kind of blew it.
Yeah, I mean, pretty much agree on for Steph. He had a rough, like 3 or 4 game stretch before he turned up in Game 5
Yes.
when KD got hurt. So maybe it's funny just how the narrative shift. One week it's KD's the best player in the world and Steph is a bum. The next week it's Steph is back to MVP level and they don't need KD.
Yep.
So, but really, if you watched him, Steph would just turn it on in flurries, whether it's in the game or if it's a couple stretch of games or whatever the case may be. He always showed he still had it. It's just,
Yep.
there's a super team. They got 3 prolific scorers and, Draymond Green, and then they try to incorporate Cousins. It's a lot of talent. And not everybody's going to be putting up 30 every game. It's just not going to happen. Um, so I wasn't surprised once KD got hurt that they were going to win because they still have the core of champions, and the Rockets
Absolutely.
they have to prove it to me. They have to
Yep.
show me. I'm not just going to believe them because James Harden puts up numbers in the regular season. That's what he does every year.
Yep. Yep. I
And
agree.
it's funny how, like, for some reason, and the Warriors did this last year too. Like, they fall right into the trap what the Rockets do is just bait them into this ISO ball. And that's why the Warriors almost lost to the Rockets last year because they were doing this ISO ball, KD ball, and you're not going to beat the Rockets at their own game like that. So they uh, once like Steve Kerr was telling, I don't know if you remember, Steve Kerr was talking to KD about Jordan had to remember to trust his teammates type stuff,
Mm-hmm.
and had KD basically fall back and give the ball to Steph again, and that's how the Warriors ended up winning it last year. This year, I mean, pretty much KD goes out and give the ball to Steph, and the Rockets don't got nothing for it because they don't they play physical, grind you out defense on if you do ISO man to man ball, but they don't have the defensive IQ if you're moving off the ball and doing all this stuff. You just going to back cut them to death. James Harden, he's not paying attention to nobody. Chris Paul's too short, et cetera, et cetera. So that's all they had to do, and that's why the Rockets never could beat them before KD got there either. Like you
Yeah.
can beat them in 4 or 5 games because they just can't defend those guys. So I wasn't surprised at all. And what they should do, I mean, I don't know if they should blow it up, but they should tinker. I mean, I don't think they should know by now that Clint Capella can't play against the Warriors. They just run him off the court. So they might have to try to tinker, trade him, maybe Eric Gordon. They're not gonna be able to trade Chris Paul. I doubt it.
Not with that deal.
Yeah, so they're kind of stuck. I mean, I don't think they should just blow it all the way up, but to maintain, I mean, just go to status quo. I mean, how many times can you do the same thing and just get the same results? So
Right.
maybe tinker a little bit, yeah.
Yeah, man. It's interesting. I mean, because now that the season's over, Mike D'Antoni's trying to get an extension. He's trying to get another 3-year deal, and Daryl Morey is just like, yeah.
Yeah, he
So
fired all his
yeah,
assistants.
fired all the assistants. So yeah, it doesn't look good for Mike D'Antoni. Reportedly, James Harden and Chris Paul had like a little shouting match or something at the end of Game 6 about my ball type thing. So I don't know what happens to Houston.
Maybe they could at least do that, like try to change how they play. That one-on-one, my turn, your turn, James Harden, Chris Paul thing is just like we talked about this before. I wouldn't want to play on that team. I
No,
wouldn't want to be a teammate there. Just
hell
standing
no.
in the corner, just waiting for, getting a hand grenade with 3 seconds left.
Bruce Bowen would love it. Oh, let me stop. But yeah. So let's move on to the next series. So after the Warriors did what they did to Houston, they had Portland waiting on them. Well, I shouldn't say waiting on them because Portland and Denver had a 7-game series. And in this series, what was really where Dame Lillard started to decline. I think he started to lose his legs. I mean, he kind of put everything he had into that first series with OKC, and because in Game 7 in Denver, he was awful. But CJ McCollum was just godly in that Game 7. I mean, he was hooping on them, hit the game winner and everything. Just pull up, dribble, pull up, step back, pull up. I mean, the dude couldn't miss. It was incredible. I mean, and then when they faced the Warriors in the Western Conference Finals, it just felt like not only did they not have enough, but they didn't have enough in the tank to deal with Golden State because Golden State was firing on all cylinders at that point. It was cool to see Steph versus Seth. I mean, they had some good brother versus brother moments, but I didn't think for a second that Portland could hang with the Warriors, even when they were up on them at half of every game. It seemed like I don't know.
Double
It just
digits.
yeah, like it just seemed too easy. And Steph was just incredible that entire series. But what are your initial thoughts on that series in the Western Conference Finals versus Portland and Golden State?
Yeah, I mean, you pretty much summed it up with the Blazers and Nuggets. They were just battling, and that quadruple overtime game just really sapped the energy out
Yeah, I
of
forgot
them.
about
And
that.
I think Dame did get hurt a little bit or
Yeah, he
something.
bruised his ribs, I believe.
Yeah, so yeah, he was getting worn down. And just in general, the Warriors just really guard them well.
Yeah,
Similar
very
to
true.
how they're able to guard Harden well historically, they guard Dame Lillard and McCollum well. I mean, credit to Klay Thompson and Iguodala.
Yep.
And man, Draymond Green was just a monster in this
Oh
series. I
my
mean,
God. Yeah. He
man, he's an incredible player, offensively and defensively. He's like the perfect pick and roll partner.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's another thing. Me and you were talking about like Steph and that Steph and Draymond pick and roll is lethal. Like they were getting bucket after bucket after bucket, and it's not always Steph pass to Draymond for a layup. Draymond's such a good decision maker where he'll throw the lob or he'll throw it back out to somebody else for the three, or he'll back you down and shoot the little turnaround fadeaway. Like Draymond is so smart, and he balled out in that series. He really did. I think he had like 2 or 3 triple doubles in that series too.
Yeah,
He was just
yeah.
incredible.
Him and Curry, the first teammates to ever have a triple double in a playoff game
Oh
on
wow.
game 4.
Okay, I didn't know that.
But yeah,
Yeah.
Steph was incredible as well. He just hit all the big shots.
Yep.
Man, he's just so much better than Lillard. It's kind of funny. I mean,
Yeah.
it's sad, but
Yeah. But like I
um,
said, I mean, Dame has never been that far. And I really want to commend him and Portland because I was totally wrong about you guys. Like, Portland had a hell of a season, and I've been on the Dame Lillard, y'all never gonna do nothing, train since day one. But they showed me something this year, and I'll be the first to admit that I was wrong about them. Even though they got swept in the Western Conference Finals, I didn't think that they would make it past round one. Uh, so I mean, shout out to Portland.
yeah, yeah, for sure, for sure. But the reason I say this is because this is what I love about Steph Curry compared to all these other ball dominant guards, is that he can actually play off the ball, man. Like
Yes.
when Lillard don't have the ball, he just stand there. Same with Harden, same with like almost every other star guard. They don't know what to do without the ball. They just stand there at the wing or like 40 feet out. Steph Curry, he's always running around. He's always a threat, and he's opens up the game for his teammates. That's why that's what makes him such an elite all-time player, is
Yeah.
that his gravity and his impact on the game is just on
Yeah.
another level.
Yes.
And
That that
that's why he's so much
gravity.
better than Lillard.
That gravity is crazy. That's to me, his gravity is what makes him dominant. I mean, Shaq,
Exactly.
like to me, when I think of dominance, the only guy that I've seen been dominant in my lifetime was Shaq. And Shaq was just physically dominant. Like you couldn't do nothing with Shaq because he would just bully you, dunk on you, run back on the other end and do it again. But Steph's dominance is his ability to make that defender not guard him at the 3-point line, but guard him at the hash mark. Like that's crazy. Like you have to guard this guy that far out, and that just opens up everything else for everybody else. And God, Steph is just, he's amazing. Like I mean, I'm not one of those guys that think the Warriors are better without KD. That's just foolish. But Steph
He needs
and the
the ball
Warriors,
more. Like if KD would be like a role player almost, they would be, they're unstoppable. But
yeah,
he wants the ball and he wants to do these ISO plays. But
yeah.
yeah,
But I mean, I want to say like they're a lot more fun to watch when it's just
oh yeah,
them and not KD. But I completely understand that KD makes them better. I'm not trying to say that they're better without him. They're just more fun to watch. But yeah.
yeah,
So the next series was the Toronto and Philly series. So that this also went 7 games, and poor Philly. It's crazy how that shot from Kawhi went in. First of all, he was incredible the entire series. This dude, Kawhi Leonard, is my God. He's on another level right now. But like that shot he hit in the corner where it bounced 3 times off the rim and went in, like I feel Joel Embiid. Like I would have been ugly crying too. Like my God, like how do you got to go out like that? Like that's crazy. But what were your thoughts on that series, man?
When I think about this series, I can't help but think about how Joe Embiid came up short in so many games. Like I
Yeah,
feel like they could have won that series if like was a game 3, 4, 5 in that stretch. Like in the middle of the series, he was awful. Like I know he was kind of sick or hurt or whatever, but man, if you dare to play, you gotta
got to
take some
produce.
kind of take a shot or something to get you some energy or something. Like you got to get out there and yeah, produce and play with passion. And he was all dragging out there, and I think that just brought down the team, and they got blown out a few games. So I can't help but think about that. So Embiid, I feel like he has incredible talent to be, best player in the world if he could really put it all together. And I think his main thing is, obviously his health, but his conditioning, man. He's got to
Yeah,
like be able to play out there in the playoffs, man. He keeps wearing down, and that's like kind of his black mark to me.
Yeah.
But yeah, on the other end, Kawhi Leonard, on the other hand, he like did the opposite. He was like resting half the season or a quarter of the season to be, just play all out in the playoffs. And man, he's just like you said, been on another level. Like he's so fun to watch. He looks like Jordan out there. I mean,
Hmm.
he legit looks better than Kobe right now. He's just making everything. It's like what the heck,
Well, I mean,
locking down.
I don't know about all that. Now I don't know about all that. I just like,
Oh, he's looking like Kobe at his best. We'll put it that
yeah,
way.
Kobe in his
Like,
prime. I'll
yeah.
give him that.
So like I'm frothing at the mouth, hoping he wants to come to
Goes
the
to the
Lakers.
Lakers.
Yeah, but I can't. Now it's like, man, I would be surprised if he just signs another year or two deal with the Raptors. I guess we'll talk about the Bucks series as well, but
Hmm.
he's been on just another level, and with all these memories and how things are going shaking out for the Raptors, it's like a dream.
Definitely, yeah, yeah, and the Bucks and the Raptors. So Milwaukee has been absolutely dominant. In the first round, they swept. In second round, they had a gentleman's sweep. I mean, they lost the first round and they won four straight against the Celtics. And
Hold
then
on, do
they
you
were
think
just,
that says more about the Celtics now, or do you think because the Celtics thought they were contenders and they got gentlemen swept against the Bucks, who lost in six to the Raptors?
yeah.
It's like y'all really wasn't nothing.
Yeah, I mean, the Celtics had way more problems off the basketball court than on, in my opinion. I don't think that they were ever seriously a contender. Like, to me, they were only going to be good if they could come together as a basketball team, and they just never did. So, I mean, as far as talent, like absolutely. I feel like the Celtics probably should have been better, but they let their own egos get in the way of that. So, I mean,
If Kyrie bounces, they might be in trouble. I don't
oh
know.
yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. Well, maybe. Yeah, maybe. But yeah. So I mean, Milwaukee was just waiting on Toronto. I mean, they have home court. They won the first two games handily. Like it
Yeah,
looked like it looked
dominantly.
yeah like it looked like Giannis
Everybody was
was
planning on them going to the
yeah
finals.
like Giannis was looking like a superstar. It's not that he was putting up 40. Like he was having like 25, 17 rebounds, which are fantastic stats. But in games 3 and 4 in Toronto, they just figured it out. Like Toronto figured out how to defend Giannis. I think I'm sorry, Kawhi was like, I'm guarding Giannis, and he's just like he took him completely out of the game. Like Giannis couldn't make jumpers, free throws. He was missing layups. Kawhi, but Kawhi's offense didn't waver. Like that's why like I have so much respect for this guy right now because there are guys in the league that can defend. Klay Thompson, Jimmy Butler, like those guys can defend, but they can't always give that 100% on offense and defense. And Kawhi is doing it right now. And then, yeah, I mean, they come back and won four straight against him, man. What are your thoughts on this series?
And you could tell he's super tired and hurt. He ended up
Hurt,
hurting
yeah.
his leg out there. I remember
Hmm.
one of those games, every time he like dunked or jumped high, he would come down and just be limping. I was like, yeah, like, should you not be playing right now?
Right.
Um, so, yeah, I mean, it's incredible that he's able to lock down Giannis while having like 4 inches shorter than him.
Hmm.
Um, he did have a lot of it was a team effort, really.
Definitely,
Toronto
definitely.
was a really good defensive team. I want to say they were second or third in defense all year, right behind like the Bucks. So they were a good defensive team, and then they added Marc Gasol, who, man, he really helped in this
Oh,
series
yeah,
to help
definitely.
wall off Giannis,
Hmm.
and have big lanky guys like Siakam, and then guys like Danny
Ibaka.
Green and Ibaka. They got a lot of length and guys who have been on defensive teams.
Yep.
Danny Green, I don't know if I said him.
You did, yeah.
Kyle Lowry. So if anything, he is a good defender. Lowry, he might not make a shot some games, but he can play defense and help
Yeah.
you out there.
He know how to take charges.
Yeah. But he actually had a good series himself. So
Yep.
give him his due, give him his credit. He's overcame some of his demons. Um, but man, the Raptors, they're a good team, man. They were one of those teams that's like, yeah, they have all this talent, and I could see them, and it's just, I know it's different because they have Kawhi and they have some champions now, but I was always just like, I got to see it with them.
Sure.
And
Yeah.
I think you were kind of like that too, as well.
Absolutely.
Maybe more
Yeah.
than me. Yeah.
Yep.
So give them credit, man. I still don't think I don't think they can beat the Warriors, but maybe I should give them more credit because I think a lot of people, I think they're heavy underdogs. So they've been getting doubted this, for last couple rounds really.
Yeah.
And with Kawhi playing at the level he's at, honestly, you never know what's gonna happen. You never know.
Yeah. So, I mean, a few things. So, going into this NBA Finals matchup, obviously the Raptors have home court, which is new territory for the Warriors. But I think the stat was, this is their first finals in the past 4 or 5 years that they're starting on, on enemy territory. So, um, I think if if the Raptors have a chance to win this series, they have to win Game One. If if the Warriors mess around and steal home court in Game One, they might get swept. And I'm just looking at the matchup. So Steph versus Kyle Lowry. Kyle Lowry is about to get ate up. Clay versus who's there two? Danny Green. Danny Green's about to get ate up. I mean, the only good thing about this is that KD and Boogie are probably not going to play until they go back to Oracle for games 3 and 4. But so Kawhi will win his matchup with Iguodala, and that's if Iguodala's even healthy. He was hurt. He didn't play in games 3 or 4 against Portland, but he's got about 10 to 12 days to rest because they swept their series. So the finals don't start till Thursday. So hopefully he'll be healthy enough to play against Kawhi. So I mean that should be a good matchup, but Kawhi should still win that matchup. I mean, Draymond Green versus who is it? Ibaka, I think starts at the 4, or no, it's Siakam. Draymond Green should bully him. And then Andrew Bogut, if he still starts, versus Ibaka or Marc Gasol should just be a wash. So I think that this series can be entertaining. Don't get me wrong, but Toronto has to, and I mean they have to come out and just kill Game One. Like Game One's gonna be their best opportunity, especially since the Warriors have just been off for like the past 2 weeks. But what are your thoughts on this series, man? I mean, how do you see it shaking up?
Well, I sort of agree with you. To me, it's more important that they don't lose both games. I think, the Warriors are really one of the most, they're probably the most incredible road playoff team ever.
Yeah.
Like, they always win a road playoff game.
Yeah.
So they're going to win at least one of these two, most likely. So you just don't want to lose both of them. So you want to at least win one and try to win one in Oracle, which they've done this year. And Warriors haven't been great at home this year, though, playoffs is a different story.
Yeah.
So to me, that's just more important to not go down 0-2 going to Oracle, because then it's over. But they might be able to, like you said, exploit the Warriors have taken off too much time, and they're going to probably try to incorporate Cousins back. It sounds like he's going to be ready for Game 1. It's the latest thing I read. Yeah.
Okay.
But it sounds like they're probably going to bring him off the bench. If so,
they should. Yeah.
And still not really sure how Iggy's going to look. So if he's still wonky, not 100%, and he's the main one guarding Kawhi, Kawhi might get off on him. So really, I don't know who's the best matchup for Kawhi. Maybe
probably
Klay Thompson.
Iguodala. Yeah, Iggy play. Yeah, I think Iguodala would draw the initial assignment just so Klay can kind of have his own freedom to perform his offensive duties. But when Iguodala goes to the bench, I'm sure it'll be Klay that shifts to him, or for some reason they like to put McKinney on people. And McKinney's played well. He tries hard. Dame crossed him up bad in that series, but he plays hard. But I don't know, man. It's the finals, so people's minutes are going to be cut. I mean, well, traditionally,
the Warriors be playing like 11 dudes nowadays.
Yeah, what else they have to
for the Blazers?
Yeah, maybe. But to me, I don't see the series going long. I feel like it'll be Warriors in 5, and they're gonna have their three-peat. But what's your prediction for this series, man? How's it gonna end?
Hold on, I have a question for you. What do you think Kawhi on Steph is gonna be impactful?
Well, that's a tricky one because if KD's out there, he better not be guarding Steph.
Well, we're assuming KD probably not gonna be back to about Game 3 or 4, right?
Okay.
He's apparently limping a little bit. So
yeah. Okay. Well, yeah. I mean, if that's the case, then yeah. I mean that'll have a huge impact. I mean, so if Kawhi guards Steph, that means Kyle Lowry is going to shift to Clay, and then I guess Danny Green would guard Iguodala, or maybe they'll just switch. So yeah, I mean that could be huge, but they'll just run a pick and roll with Draymond Green, and I don't know.
Okay, so I have some hypotheticals. Put yourself in the mind of Kevin Durant.
Mm-hmm.
If the Warriors go up 2-0, do you try to come back?
Absolutely. If you can, if
Because you don't want them to win without you, right?
I mean, I don't care about that. If
No,
I'm
I mean
Kevin
like
Durant, I don't care
you know
about
he
that.
cares though. You know he cares.
Why? Why should he care?
Because man, he don't want everybody to be talking about it all summer on First Take and Undisputed. You know he watch all these shows. He obviously watches and he responds to them on Twitter.
Yeah.
Uh, he don't want them talking about KD is useless and they didn't. He just went to a team they didn't need him and they won championship without him. He don't want to hear that all summer. So you know deep down he's hoping that they lose a game or two and he has to come and save them and win this Finals MVP
Wow.
and be known as the man. You know deep down that's what he wants, right?
I
So
mean,
it's kind of interesting.
that'd be terrible if that's what he's really thinking.
It's
Hopefully he's
human
not
nature,
thinking
man. It's human nature.
to want your team to fail so you can be the good guy. I mean,
Well, no, to want to be
want it?
to want to be wanted, yeah, to want to feel important, to want to feel, yeah. I mean, it would suck if the team wins without you, right? Especially if you are considered like a MVP type player.
I
How
mean,
valuable are you if they win a championship without you?
yeah, I guess. I mean, to me, that's like that's not even secondary like of a story. Like to me, who cares? Like a
Dog, that
championship is
is
a
like
championship.
that is the biggest storyline going into this.
What?
It
Wow.
is, man. It is just because people want to try to break the Warriors up. So they're trying to do this divide and conquer tactics, and it's clearly getting to Kevin Durant.
I guess. I mean, yeah, maybe so, maybe so. Hopefully, it's an entertaining series. Like I said, I don't see it going past 5 games, but uh, you
So
know,
even if he doesn't come back, you still say Warriors in five?
I do. Yeah.
Okay. Well, I was gonna
As,
say
as
if he comes back by like game three, I say Warriors in five. If he does not come back, or he doesn't come back until I say worst case, probably Warriors in six. I don't see the Raptors really winning this.
yeah.
Um, I mean, Kawhi would have to go off, but he would also need help from a couple other guys, and I just don't see. The finals is different. It's bright lights. This
Mm-hmm.
is the biggest stage. They're changing up your schedules now.
Mm-hmm.
Instead of you normally getting shoot arounds at this time, no, you got to do media, and you have to do this, that, and the third, and you're practicing on a finals court instead of at your practice facility. All this type of stuff. So it's just different.
Yeah.
So, and only Serge Ibaka and Kawhi Leonard and Danny Green have experience with that. At least they do have players that have experience, but
The Warriors got a whole team.
it's different. Yeah, it's different. So.
Yeah,
And the
man.
Warriors win on the road, and it kind of works out for them in this way since they're so good on the road that they could end up winning and sweeping if they mess around and win these 2 games in Toronto. They could end
Yeah.
up sweeping, or they could win in 5 at Toronto, or they could win in 6 in Oracle. So
Yep.
in worst case, they can win a game 7 on the road too, but I don't see it getting that far.
Yeah, I mean, even if I feel like even if Kawhi has like a Herculean NBA Finals like LeBron did, like LeBron was averaging like 40 something in finals against the Warriors, and they still lost. Except for
And
the
let me
one
tell you
year where
something.
Kyrie was averaging 42.
And this is exactly what they're gonna do. They're gonna stick like just Iguodala or Klay Thompson on Kawhi.
They just let him
This,
go
I
off.
think, yeah, just let him go off if he can. But they're gonna shut down everybody else, and they're gonna
Yeah,
say, Kawhi, you're gonna have to beat us. You're gonna have to drop 70 or something because,
yeah.
yeah. And LeBron almost did it a couple times, but I don't know if Kawhi is as that good, and especially not that good as a playmaker, because LeBron still would get his points, but he would also get like 10, 11, plus assists
Yep.
as well. So, yeah, all in all, I think it's just not gonna be enough.
Mhm. But it's still good, man. It's still good for Toronto to actually go to the finals. This is their first finals trip in franchise history.
Yeah.
And leading into that, I do have a bit of a challenge for you as we wrap things up
Hold
here.
on, but before we do this, Julian, I wanted to
Yeah.
ask you one more question. I saw you were kind of going off on Giannis. What are your comments on him? I mean, he
Well,
clearly has to get better. He could end up being the next, carry the flag, best player in the league someday, but
sure.
he's got to work on his game, right?
Yeah, I mean, I wasn't. So, like, I'm assuming you're referring to what I was posting on Twitter, but I mean, I was trying to give constructive criticism. I wasn't necessarily trying to destroy his character or say that he was trash. I just I think that the Giannis is extremely talented, but this series and game one against Boston kind of exposed him as to what he can and cannot do. Um, I mean, he has to develop some type of jump shot, and we've been ringing this bell with Ben Simmons, but at least Giannis isn't afraid to shoot those shots. It's just that he's not even average at those shots. If he was like, average at shooting a free throw line extended jump shot, like it would change his whole game.
Yeah,
But
to me, the worst part is that he can't. His free throw line, his free throws faltered.
yeah,
He
yeah,
just
man.
fell apart at the free throw line, and that's killer.
I mean, he has to get better. But I, unlike Ben Simmons, I actually believe in Giannis. Like I wholeheartedly believe that Giannis is in the gym right now and that he's shooting 1,000 jumpers as he should be, because that is what's going to take him to the next level. I mean, as presently constructed, Giannis just isn't it. Like, he's great. He had a great regular season. He has my vote for MVP of the regular season. But from what I saw for him in the semifinals in Game One in Boston and the Eastern Conference Finals, he got exposed, man. And I'm not gonna let that go. Like, if we're gonna talk about Kyle Lowry and James Harden and anybody else, Giannis isn't exempt. So he has holes in his game that need to be plugged. That was my
You
opinion
know,
on him.
on that note, that's also like kind of whack how they do this NBA award show after the season.
I hate it.
Like
I
now that they
hate
got
it.
these players get exposed, it's like, oh, okay, yeah, I'll give you the MVP for the regular season. That happened like 6 months ago.
Yeah, I hate it. They need to move it back into when they were doing it during the playoffs. I don't know why they're doing this. Like,
For the
is it?
show.
I'm about to say, is it for the show, for the marketing? Like,
Yeah,
come on,
exactly.
man. I
Sponsorships and whatnot.
hate that. That's really stupid. Well, I mean, what about you, man? What are your thoughts on Giannis?
I pretty much echo what you said. He's got to work on not only just his jump shot, but not only just his free throws, but he's got to get, his post game. He's got to get comfortable,
Yeah.
like as a one-on-one scorer instead of just running past people or trying to run through people or whatever. He's got to,
Yep.
just refine his game,
Yes,
and he's
definitely.
almost there. And he's only
Yeah.
like 24, right? So
Yeah. Young kid, and yeah, he can definitely do it. But so yeah, man. Last thing I have for you is I just have a small challenge. So Toronto, as I was saying, they are going to their first NBA Finals in franchise history, which start on Thursday for ABC, 9 p.m. Eastern. All right, let me stop. But anyway, with their finals berth, this gives them a chance to win an NBA title, which every team in the league has done besides 13 teams. I just want you to name as many as you can. So these are teams that have never won an NBA championship.
wow, okay. Atlanta Hawks.
That is not correct. The Hawks have won when they were St. Louis.
Okay, so we're counting that too, just like
Yeah,
total
yeah,
team. Okay.
right.
Um, the Grizzlies,
That is correct. Memphis Grizzlies have never won a championship.
the Magic,
That is correct. Orlando bit to the finals with Shaq, but they have never won a championship, and with Dwight Howard.
the Charlotte Hornets,
That is absolutely correct. Poor Michael Jordan, crying face.
uh, New Orleans Pelicans,
That is very true. They're about to lose AD. They're getting Zion.
Utah Jazz,
That's very true. Stockton and Malone, they try so hard.
let me see, the Clippers,
Very, very true. Steve Ballmer owns them, but they're never going to win.
the Kings. I don't know if they've.
Sack, they're not on this list, so I'm assuming that they have won one.
Hmm, okay. How many is that so far?
That was 5.
The
Doing good.
Nuggets. I think the Nuggets
Yep.
have won before.
No, Denver
They
Nuggets have
haven't.
never won a championship. They're on this list.
Um, oh man, I'm running out of Midwest random names.
Think Eastern Conference. There's a big franchise. They went to the finals against us.
The Sixers? No, they won a championship before.
Yeah, they won a championship. Dr. J. But this is
Um,
the year before that.
oh, the Nets. No, the year before that, the
Yeah.
Pacers.
Yeah. Well, the Nets are on here too.
Okay.
So yeah, the Pacers and the Nets have never won a championship.
Okay.
There's 4 teams left. Well, okay, so I'll give you one. So Toronto. I mean, I guess I should have took them off the
Oh, I thought
list.
you counted that. Okay.
Yeah. So there's 3 teams left. One of these teams was my favorite team in 2007, 2008.
Oh yeah, Suns.
one of these teams has a superstar who loves stats.
Uh, Superstar that loves stats.
He makes sure he get his stats. He's averaged triple double for 3 straight years.
Oh, okay, the Thunder. Okay.
Yeah. And the last team had a NBA
Hold
MVP.
on.
And
So you don't count the Sonics with the Thunder?
nope.
Hmm.
The last team was they had an NBA MVP all time great in 2004.
Oh, the Timberwolves. Okay.
Yep, Minnesota. So yeah, man, just a little fun challenge just to whet your appetite for the NBA Finals coming up on ABC this Thursday, 9 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Central. And yeah, Jeff Van Gundy, Mike Breen, and Mark Jackson have the call. All right, let me stop. So yeah, man, appreciate you hopping on the pod. This episode's always really fun to do.
For
And
sure.
yeah, appreciate it, man. All right. Thank you so much for listening to today's episode of the Current Era Pod. Guys, please remember to hit that subscribe button so the episodes will download automatically for you, or you can just hit that download button and download them individually, whichever you prefer. The downloads are what really count for me. Appreciate everybody continuing to show love and support on all social media at the Current Era Podcast. Let's keep it going, guys. I'm going to have an episode for you Friday, and the Monday after that, and the Friday after that, and so on and so forth. New episodes every Monday and Friday on the Current Era Podcast. See you Friday, guys. I'm out.